It is a Tuesday, and you know what that means. It means we are joined by Basil Chapman. Basil Chapman is the author of the Opening Call newsletter. He's also the host of the Tiger Technicians Hour on at 10 a.m. Eastern Time right here at TFNN. Now is a fantastic time to check out the Opening Call. He's been making great moves. One of the things I want to say, as well as you get access to all of his subscriber webinars. He recently did one in November. And additionally, one of the best value added, I say this all the time, but he, on, I believe it's Friday or Saturday, Basil, you can correct me on the day on that, but he does about an hour long, kind of summary of what happened during the week, what they're looking forward to in the next week. So this is really fantastic, especially if you just got blindsided by this entire market. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to place your money. Now is a fantastic time to get the Opening Call newsletter. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee for all first-time subscribers. So for whatever reason it doesn't work out for you, your money is safe. However, we are betting that it will. Basil, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Jacob. How are you?
I'm doing well. How was your weekend? Good?
Yeah, very good.
Fantastic. What are we looking at today, Basil?
So let me just go through the Dow right now. So the Dow made a lower low today from the January 13th low. It went under it yesterday, closed a little bit above it. Today it went sharply low, went to 41,175. I said to subscribers from Opening Call, we are very close to some kind of, I call it a low, not the low, some kind of a bounce, and that we have certain clues that'll be after 1:30 this afternoon that we'll be looking for. So let me just go through a couple of things here. I just wanted to say, when you mentioned Tesla, I've been discussing Tesla for some time, and my conclusion was that based on my work that I've done over the years, looking at the CEOs, if they get distracted from the job, for whatever reason, Benioff wrote his book on social, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was really social programs. Salesforce took a huge hit. It just goes on and on. So when Musk became part of the Trump cabinet, I said, this confirms for me that high that was made back in December the 18th at 488, you've got to be careful because he's lost his focus, and this stock should go much lower. Well, it went all the way down to the 200-period exponential moving average. That's at 234. Today it went down to 217.02. So there are certain things in the market that you can look for. The other thing I've been looking for are these double tops and also round numbers. So if you're looking at the Dow itself made a high back in December. It had a high on the 4th. It had a high of 44,073, dived down to 41,844. January the 13th, it made a beautiful low. We managed to catch that. It went all the way to 45,054. Just missed that double. Made a double top high, and now we can talk about it because it's making some kind of an attempt at a bounce low.
Well, Basil, please stay right there, folks. We'll be right back with Basil Chapman after the break, taking a look at the Dow. Welcome back, everybody. This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. I'm joined right now by Basil Chapman. Basil is the author of the Opening Call newsletter. Check it out. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're a first-time subscriber, for whatever reason it doesn't work out, check it out. It's worth it. Basil, we're looking at the Dow before we went to the break.
So the other thing that I'm looking at here is that we have the DXD 2 times short the Dow. We're in at 25 today. It hit 28.98. I've got this as a leggy, but I don't always the inverse of the whatever instrument you're looking at doesn't always coincide with the peaks and troughs exactly, but the pattern does. And this just says that it went by the 200-period exponential moving average at 28.20, and it's gotten a little bit overbought, and that it could pull back, but all the technicals here are still strong. And if you look at the corresponding Dow daily chart, all the technicals are still very weak. Look at the distance. You see the black, and let me make this with a pointer. The black and red lines. These are the 9. The black is the 14, and it goes when the 9 period goes under the 14. It goes pink. When it goes above, it goes green. And this just says you're going to have a rally into the 42,600s or more to even have a chance of getting the 9-period moving average positive again. And I did this arch formation with a plumb line that said in 2 days' time, there should be a test of the January 13th low. We did it in a shorter time period. That always says, oh, you got to be careful because the acceleration down. And you've got this arch formation that made the double top that I was talking about, and we've taken out. The week is young. I've got to wait till Friday at 4, but we have taken out all the left side lows, and that's going to be very important because the weekly technicals, you can see there's an S, and that's just the start of the 9-period moving average crossing negative. It's a weekly chart. I have to wait. But that's just a hint to say we might get some kind of bounces, but the real low, and I'll go to the volatility index, the real low is we're in this leg D right now in the VIX index, but I'm anticipating that it'll be in the 30s and that we finally get a really strong buy signal, and it'll be sometime, I think, I've been looking for March as some kind of a low. Usually the tradition is March and October where we get serious lows. We'll see if that occurs here. So then are a couple of other things. So you would think when you're talking low volatility, what are we having right now? We're having pretty high volatility. Well, you would think that the S&P, it's called the S&P 500 Low Volatility Fund, would be really tanking. Do you know that yesterday it made an all-time high
Interesting.
in the 7540s? I mean, that's the SPLV. I mean, who would have thought, right? When I looked at it, I said, that is really high. That's high volatility, and this is called the Low Volatility Fund. Well, finally it made this peak D, and we'll see where it goes. But talking about double tops, look, 75.14 in November, the week of November the 29th. Of 2024, plunges down to the 68s, gets back to where? 75.43, just less than 50 cents above the previous high on the 10th, and now it's pulling back. But this is still a leg. It hasn't made a peak yet, so I'm watching it very closely. So when I've been talking about this, the diverse action in the markets, if you look at the XLC, which is the communications ETF, it's taken quite a dive. But if you go to Verizon, it was making all-time highs just the other day. Yesterday, in fact, it made an all-time high in the 47s. It took a dive today because it said it discussed the competition. But it's just really interesting that when you go through a lot of the stocks, the divergence is quite prominent. Coca-Cola making an all-time high. Then I go to VT. VT is the Vanguard. Oops, I thought I did that and then I lost the notation. There. Made a peak D, the Chapman wave. We're always looking for the highest peak D where other things can happen. Well, it went to 124 and now it's at 116.53. That's quite a dive with a double top again. This is the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF. U.S. stocks make up 49%. So it's gone to an E in the weekly chart and an E in the monthly chart and starting to pull back. And that is the world market. So I'm finding it very interesting that it's really the Mag 7, really the biggies that were beautiful leaders. They've taken a big hit, but there are many stocks that are holding pretty well. And you've got to look at this as not just a bifurcation, but a trifurcation. There's certain areas, and I was asked today about the TLT. Yes. What do I think? Will yields be coming down? And I think the TLT, in a way, has been doing some of the Fed's work for it because, look, the yields, the bonds have come up sharply from 84.89 in the TLT on the 14th of January, and it hit 92. And it's trading right now at 90. So a lot of the work that the Fed would want to do is kind of being done through the lower yields. So with that, I wanted to just go back to a chart that I believe I showed it to you last week. No, right here. No, can I find it? Oh, that's a pity. Oh, I remember where it is. It's right here. So this is what I had spoken to you about. I believe it was last Tuesday, and I said, I'm watching this very closely. It's a monthly chart. It has the XLF financials. That's the pink chart right there. The blue is the S&P. It's the SPY, actually. And look, if you look at all these highs, they all correspond. So I don't ever hear anyone talking about the financials as being market leaders both up and down. But look, every low, it coincided. So this turn down is going to be very important. It's a monthly chart. I don't want to get too carried away. month is still young. There's a lot of weeks to go. But this is going to be a warning for me to keep watching this very closely. So I wanted to mention these things, but I also wanted to say I've watched Trump since the 1980s. I had written a paper, and I mentioned him during the paper, mostly about his building.
That's pretty cool, Basil. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's a 51%er. He considers it a win as long as he gets that extra 1%. It's a win. So all of this, you have to consider that all of the tariffs, for him, it's just a big stick, and he's using it the way he's always the art of the deal, and he does it with leverage. So this is the first time that he's had a kind of back pressure, people coming back and saying, well, we're going to, but he wields it in such a way, and he has such a way of doing it that it's quite intimidating for even countries. We've just seen that Canada's back down with energy. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, don't get too carried away. This is a method that he has. We don't know if it's going to work, but it's what he has used. So just treat it as another instrument in the whole technical toolbox. And in this case, it's the president that's using it. It's kind of a little shaky because we've never seen this before. But he might be doing something with Ukraine. He might be doing something with the Mideast. He might be doing something with energy. There are a lot of things that have to come together. And I usually say most presidents are really good at one thing or two things maximum in their presidency. He has a multitude, and not everything can succeed. So let's hope that it's the market that really survives very well. And I'm just looking at this on a purely technical basis. And so far, the daily charts have all gone to sell modes. I'm watching this week to see if the weekly charts go to sell signal and then sell modes. So far, the weekly charts have held okay.
Fantastic.
So that's the way I'm putting it.
Basil, thank you for coming on. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m., okay?
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks.